All right, this week I have to do a progress report on what I've been working on for week 5, according to this. So in our project plan, we're making a game, and I was supposed to add movement and pathfinding and enemy animations for travel. And so I did. So this week, I probably went a little overboard. I made a system that generates uh, a map of nodes throughout the entire map that's a little bit smaller than, that has a space between them a little bit smaller than the collider on whatever entity it's placed on. So that way, when nodes are registered as good, it knows that the entity knows it can fit between different nodes. So basically, it makes a map of all these nodes and then raycasts in 8 different directions to see if it's connected to these other ones, or does it hit a collider, which means it's not connected. And then any node that has less than 3 connections is registered as a bad node, meaning it can't travel. Nothing can travel there. So even some that get through that could potentially be reached, that really are just dead ends, get eliminated. So that's all done. I'll show you an example. In this instance, this bee right here is moving to 3 different path points that are shown by game objects. So there's one. The one it's going to right now is that one. So now it'll be traveling to this one. As you can see, the path is not optimized. Something's wrong with it, but I'm going to figure that out this week. But it does find a path, just not the shortest path. That has something to do with the way the nodes are added and processed. It's using the A-star algorithm. And so the heuristic it uses is to get the exact distance from the destination, and the travel distance is the distance between the next point added to the previous sum of distances. So it's cumulative. So it is an exact measurement of what the travel distance is. But the way that it goes through there and parents nodes to know what the path is a little wonky right now, but I'm going to fix that. So that I did that is I made an entity that handles health, existence, and like all the details, the high level details of the entity. And so that has also a interface. So whenever you implement that interface, something else can check for it and know that they're dealing with the entity, and so damage it or anything else without having to check if methods exist or anything fancy like that. Then I made a path mapper. That's this one. It's about 800 lines of code that adds all these nodes on the map, make sure that they're valid and stuff. And so each instance of an entity will refer to a class variable that contains the path mapper instance. The reason I did that is because generating the grid is intense. In the case of that map, it's about 100 by 100 squares. So that's about 8,000 collision checks to get this as overhead to set it up. So I only want to do that once per class. They all have the same collider width, so they can all use the same one. So you just ask that for a path when you have a destination and pass it the entity's location. Then it will give you a path of nodes. And it's guaranteed to give you a path, not the shortest path right now, but I'll work on that. And it may never be, guaranteed to give you the shortest path, but it'll get better for sure. So then within that, I have 2 movement styles right now. One's just a random movement, a random patrol, moves in random directions. The other is this directed patrol. So you can give it game objects, you can give it vector 2s for XY location, or you can give it vector 3s for XYZ location, and it will follow those waypoints in order. And so that's plugged into the entity class down here in the update. And so all you got to do is change the movement type in the entity class, and it will handle everything else. So if you wanted to do a patrol, and then when a player comes in the area, it starts following it, all you do is change the movement type and give it a target. It'll handle all the pathfinding and everything. So it's really modular and nice. Next week, I'll be polishing all that stuff up and making it be able to attack and things like that. It's a really general system. I'm pretty proud of it. I had to do some low-level stuff. Probably the coolest thing I learned was in here I have a couple of subclasses, and so one of those I had to override all the operators for determining if something is equal. So there's the reference operator to see equals. So like if you're looking at a list or something, if something exists, this is what the system calls. So it just checks to see if these two, they're meta nodes. So I had to make like two grids, which was really messy, and I'll probably redo it. And here's the not equal. So if using the not equal sign override, and that was pretty deep to figure out exactly how to compare to null and things like that. Yeah, really learned a lot about C#.